The night the sky cracked open above Seoul, nobody noticed at first. Neon lights still flickered, crowds still cheered, and music still pulsed through the heart of the city like it always did. But high above the glittering skyscrapers, something dark and ancient began to tear through the heavens, like a wound in reality itself. From that tear, shadows slipped through, twisted, hungry, and silent. Demons had returned, and only a few knew the truth behind the chaos that was about to unfold. Behind the glamour of the K-pop industry lived a secret world, one built on bloodlines, power, and duty. The most famous idols weren't just performers, they were protectors, trained from childhood to hunt and destroy the creatures that lurked in the dark. Among them, three families stood at the center of it all: the Gold family, the Silver family, and the Wooden family. Each carried a legacy, but only one carried the kind of strength the world was about to need. The Gold family lived in a world untouched by struggle. Their headquarters stood like a palace, surrounded by security, luxury cars, and flashing cameras. Their idols trained in perfect studios, their voices refined to perfection, their moves flawless down to the last detail. Even their weapons shone, crafted from rare metals, glowing with golden energy that could slice through demons as easily as air. But for them, image mattered as much as duty. Every battle was carefully timed, every appearance calculated. They didn't just fight demons, they performed victory. The Silver family lived differently. They weren't as wealthy, but they were respected. Their training was harsher, their rules stricter. They valued discipline, balance, and honor above all else. Their weapons were elegant and precise, and their voices carried a cold, steady power. They fought not for fame, but for responsibility. Still, even they had limits. They chose their battles carefully, protecting the most important parts of the city while avoiding unnecessary risks. To them, survival and order mattered more than reckless bravery. Far from the bright lights, hidden between old buildings and forgotten streets, lived the Wooden family. Most people didn't even know they existed. They had no sponsors, no grand stages, no polished image. Their home was small, worn down by time and hardship. Rain leaked through the roof, and the walls carried the scars of countless battles no one had ever seen. Their training grounds were rooftops under the open sky, empty alleys lit only by broken street lamps. They trained without music, without applause, only the sound of their own breathing and the distant noise of a city that had forgotten them. Their weapons were simple, often handmade. Wooden staffs, patched-up blades, and charms carved by hand. To outsiders, they looked weak, almost laughable compared to the shining warriors of the Gold and Silver families. But what they lacked in power, they made up for in something far rarer: heart. Hannah was the youngest of them. She didn't look like a hero. Her clothes were plain, her shoes worn out, and her voice, unlike the perfect tones of famous idols, carried small imperfections. But when she sang, something deep and ancient stirred in the air, like a forgotten memory waking up. Her voice wasn't trained for perfection, it was shaped by emotion, by pain, by hope. And that made it powerful in a way no polished performance could ever match. That night, as the first wave of demons slipped into the city, chaos began quietly. A sudden blackout in one district. Strange whispers in the dark. Shadows moving where there should be none. The Gold family received the alert almost instantly, but they didn't rush. Their managers discussed timing, media presence, and camera coverage. This wasn't just a battle, it was an opportunity. Their idols prepared themselves, adjusting outfits, perfecting their appearance, waiting for the moment when their entrance would shine the brightest. The Silver family responded faster, but cautiously. They divided their teams, focusing only on key locations, government centers, major broadcast stations, and high-profile areas. They calculated the threat level, choosing efficiency over emotion. Civilians in smaller districts would have to wait. But in the forgotten corners of the city, where no cameras reached and no strategies mattered, the demons gathered faster. Hannah saw them first. From the rooftop where she often trained, she noticed the unnatural darkness spreading between the buildings. She heard the faint echoes, low growls, distant screams. Her heart began to race, but she didn't hesitate. She ran. There was no time to call for permission, no time to wait for orders. She knew what this meant. And she knew no one else was coming. By the time she reached the street, the demons had already begun to attack. People were running, their faces filled with confusion and fear. The creatures moved like shadows, striking quickly and disappearing just as fast. Hannah's hands trembled as she stepped forward, gripping her wooden staff tightly. For a brief moment, doubt crept into her mind. She wasn't like the others. She wasn't strong enough. Not famous enough. Not perfect enough. But then she saw a child crying behind her mother, frozen in fear. And something inside her changed. Hannah closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and began to sing. Her voice was soft at first, almost fragile, but it carried through the chaos like a thread of light cutting through darkness. The melody wasn't polished, but it was real, filled with every emotion she had ever felt. Pain, hope, fear, courage. It all flowed into that single song. The air shifted. The demons paused. A faint glow surrounded her, not golden or silver, but warm, like the first light of dawn. She